Hey Jen, Mex, great to see you. We are talking in this video about building custom homes in Mexico, specifically how do you get started? So I have another video with Carlos, who is a custom home builder here in La Paz, and you'll find it in one of these corners if you haven't already watched that one. That is a great place to start describing kind of what specifically is a custom home so that we're all on the same page as to a definition. But let's meet Carlos, and first, let's have him, actually, I'm going to start out with having him, if you haven't met him yet, talk very briefly about his credentials so that you know he knows what he's talking about. So here's Carlos.
Hi, everyone. My name is Carlos Gonzalez. I'm an architect, graduated from the University of Las Americas, Puebla. After that, I worked in Bobby's Land Lease, project management, Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Los Cabos. And I had been with my company over 15 years in La Paz area. The name is Baja Custom Homes, and you will be able to find more stuff that we have done in the next videos.
Okay, so now that you know Carlos, I'm going to have him go through kind of a brief overview of what we're talking about in this video. And this is essentially where I want to finish this video, if all goes right, is when the shovel hits the dirt. So this is between the, I want a custom home, and we're starting to dig and make construction happen. So let's hear an overview of the process, and then we'll go through piece by piece.
So the process in order to build a custom home, it's that first of all, you need to find yourself a lot. When you find yourself the lot, this could be with or without the help of the architect or the custom home builder. You need to draw the plans. In order to draw the plans, I will recommend you that you hire an architect, or if the custom home builder has a architectural department, as we do, you can use that. After you have the full set of plans for construction, you need to have a bid. And that's the part when you can choose between two or offer the plans to 2 or 3 different builders, so you can choose between them. After that, you need to sign a contract. The contract needs to have all the details of the plans, have the numbers, and the schedule of the payments. When you feel confident with that and you sign it, then you're ready to break ground.
Okay, so we're going to go through these things step by step in detail now, starting with finding the land, and Carlos is going to talk about that. As we get further into the process, we're going to head into his office to talk to some of his staff, the architects, and the different people who are in charge of different parts of the process to really dig in. And we are in La Paz now, and Custom Home Builder, Baja Custom Homes is in Baja California Sur. Any Baja California? In the peninsula, we'll say. But a lot of what we're talking about will apply to mainland Mexico too. But let's talk about finding land.
I think the most important thing about finding land is like making sure about the legal status of the land that you're trying to buy. I will recommend you that definitely go with a realtor that is as well established and trustful. You can also ask for referrals, or maybe choose some neighbors, right? If you are walking down, or if you're looking through the internet, you can search the MLS or some listing options that will provide you more information. But again, in Mexico, is everything about the professionalism of the agents or the builders or the architects that you're dealing with.
And a great resource for finding a great realtor is to look on Facebook in the Facebook groups. So pretty much if you type in wherever you are and type in expats, so local La Paz expats is a group here in La Paz, or expats in Puerto Vallarta, expats in Merida. There will be there will probably be multiple expat Facebook groups, but they're a great spot. Just go into the search and search for realtor, and you'll hear people's recommendations or people that you might want to stay away from. Let's now go from you've worked with a realtor and you found that piece of land that's perfect for you.
After you choose the realtor and he helps you to find a neighborhood or a lot that is available, it fits all your needs. Maybe you want to be in the outside, or you want to be in downtown or more commercial area. It's really important that you hire an architect, and he can be with you even before that you pick the lot, and he can help you and tell you about the possibilities or the challenge about picking that one. right? And most of the time, it's not needed to make a soil study for the mechanics or making some testing. But I think that going around and checking at least drawing 2 or 3 options with the architect will help you to pick the lot that you want, because he had worked in the area and he knows what are the challenges and what is the best lot for your project. Because maybe you have started a conversation about the sizing and the views and what are your expectations for the house.
And of course, when you hire that architect, you're going to want to have a signed contract. Very, very important here in Mexico that things are all written out.
When we meet a client and he get into our architectural department, the first thing that we do is ask him about the size of the project. Here in Mexico, the price for an architectural project is going to be around 500 pesos per square meter. So that will be somewhere around $4 per square feet, I believe so. But the thing is that he will charge you for the construction meters, or everything is below a roof, right? So it doesn't matter that you only have 2,000 square meter in the interior living space. If you get a structure or terraces or even a second story, he will charge you for the total square footage of the construction area or what is below the roof. Another important thing that you will want to ask him is that if he will provide some services like a survey or a soil mechanics study, or how many renders he will present. Usually those came separately, but it's really important that you get at least an estimated bid and you can adapt it, because maybe you will start with a project that is only 1,500 square feet and it came up to 2,500. So those will be numbers that you would like to create, or at least get a formal bid and sign it, so there's no surprises when you're realizing the architectural plans for their house.
Okay, we are now at the world headquarters of Baja Custom Homes, and we have Kitsia, who is the head architect, and she's going to describe the next steps in the process from, kind of like now you're talking about what your house is going to look like now that you have your land settled. So, Kitsia, what happens on that first meeting?
Okay, so when we have our first meeting with the clients, we get to know them and know their desires and needs for the project. And we know things like which lot is the one they own, the dimensions of the lot, the dimensions of the project they want, how many rooms they want, and their reasons because they want certain things, like maybe someone a pool or someone just a barbecue area, and all that questions is what's happening in the first meeting.
Okay, so this is also the time when I get to bring in all my ideas and my sketches that aren't to scale and just kind of like, blah, this is everything I want. So I've gotten everything out of my system now. What's next?
Most of our clients are not from here, so we have many ways to communicate with them. We send the plans through email or through WhatsApp group, and we communicate through just an email, also through a call or a video call, whatever the client feels more comfortable with. And when we complete the architectural design, we do a worksheet, which is an exercise with the square footage of the house and an estimate number for construction. And if that's okay with their budget, we move forward to the next step, which is engineering. If not, we do adjustments. It happens all the time. And the adjustments happen to be maybe make rooms smaller or stuff like that, or remove some of the items that are not essential. And after everything's fine with this estimate and the architectural is completed, we move forward to the structural and the installation plans.
Okay, so this is a process that's going to happen with any company, with an architect that has a contracting branch, or if it's big, if it's small, they are going to go to structural engineering. And here at Baja Custom Homes, they don't have an engineering department. So This is the point in which you have to be pretty sure that you got what you want, that the rooms, everything is where you think it belongs. Because once it goes out to structural engineering and you decide, oh, I want to move something around, then you're kind of restarting the process and moving backwards and taking time and money. So let's hear a little bit about that next page, which is structural and some of the other things that are going on at that phase. It takes 2 or 3 weeks, I think Carlos mentioned, for it to go to the structural engineer, but they're still working with you here on some other things. So let's hear structural and those other things.
So while the structural design is being made, we work with the clients with installations, which are electrical, hydraulic, and sanitary installation plans. We send over to them the plans, and they review it, and we have another meeting or just a feedback that could be an email, whatever they feel comfortable with. And after that is completed, like, we are set to go with a bid.
Okay, so what are some of the changes people ask for at that point?
Most of the changes happened in the electrical plans, which is mainly because they have some items that are not our standard, like they can request speakers or some preparations for solar, for Starlink, another items like appliances, which are not regular appliances, and they require different connection. And we review all that in the electrical plans.
And electrical outlets are a big thing that you'll hear lots of foreigners talk about here, because the kind of standards for electrical outlets for Mexicans and for foreigners are different. So my neighbor's house is being built. It's custom built right now. And I walked in and I saw his family room or living room area had one outlet. In the US, we're used to having way more outlets. So it's something to look at. If you're hiring a builder, as we talked about in the first video, a builder that is worked with a lot of other foreigners, they have a better idea of where we want our outlets, in terms of an outlet on every side of the bed so that you can plug in your phone, an outlet for the TV that's on the wall across from the bed. So a lot of those things, if you're working with a builder who's used to working with foreigners, they'll probably already do those things, but you might want something extra. And as we were sitting here, Carlos kind of joked that, some client might want an outlet right next to the toilet to charge their phone, because, that's a thing these days. So I do want to dig in a little bit more to what the structural is doing, just so that we can all understand why it's taken them 2 weeks. What are they doing in those 2 weeks? Why didn't the architect just get it all done?
Well, plans go to an structural engineer, which he does all the calculations to have the plans, the structural plans. And in the plans, you're going to see two things: foundation and a structure. And a structure here is we built in Mexico with concrete columns, letting walls, and concrete slabs. So that's what the plans show. All the sections of each element with the dimensions and the steel you're gonna need. And that's possible because there's a previous calculation being made by the structural engineer. And our way to build is different from other countries, because we do concrete buildings. And with concrete buildings, we mean columns, beams, and we use concrete bricks.
Okay, so once you have decided where all your outlets are and you've got the structural engineer has calculated exactly how big your beams are and how big your walls are. They do a little bit of drywall here. It is possible, but they won't be structural walls. But just wanted to mention that happens. Almost everything here in La Paz is concrete. In other areas, like I think around Ajijic, there's a lot more brick. So just depending on what's available, there's not a lot of tall, straight trees in Mexico. So wood is just not a common building material. But once you've approved all that good stuff, let's find out what happens next.
So we do a last checkup on what items we are not missing. For example, solar, or if they want to reuse water, if we need to add that system, or a purification system for the water. And after we do all that checkup, then we are ready to do the bid. And while we're doing the bid process, clients are talking with architect Monse about finishes. That's happening simultaneously. Hi, I'm architect Monse. I'm more in charge of all the finishes and specifications of your house. So once you already establish all the plans, the architectural floor plans, and going through the installations and structural plans, you talk simultaneously with me about all the finishes. And in this part is when we have like a back and forth informations also from me to you about the finishes and standard materials that we use in here, like types of floor plans, of the tiles, of the items that we use in the showers, the fixtures, about all the finishes and materials that you will have in the interior space of your house. In this part, we can have like a different type of methods of working. In this case, for example, you can show me the pictures that you have in mind of your dream house, and I can show you or explain what we have here in Mexico to work with to try to accomplish that look that you desire to your house. So in this part, what our purpose is to get all the items and specifications, like first step of going to established point when we can have information to get you an actual bit of what you want to your house. But these finishes, you can work with me throughout all the process. You cannot have like everything settled down in the first meeting. We will go through a lot of reviews to get exactly what you want for your house. So it's a lot of reviews. We can work in different ways. We have talk meetings, we have video chats, we can have emails. And in this part, I will show you like a lot of options of what you can have here. And you really can just pick like if it's like a menu from a restaurant. So it's really a fun part that we really enjoy with you, and to know exactly what you expect to have for your house and how to get it here in Mexico.
Once you got all your finishes selected and the engineering and structural part is completed, all this information goes to our cost engineer. He processes all the information in order to give you a breakdown and spreadsheet with all the bid. It's based on, with all the items, based on quantity, price, and all the different stages in the project, like foundation, structural, ceiling, finishes, subcontractors. So everything is on a spreadsheet and it's pretty breakdown, and you can analyze the cost of each area or each part of the house. After the bid is completed and we have already submitted to you, if you decide to approve it and build with us, you will be Natalia, who is our accountant and administrator, and she will provide you a contract with all the information that you need, that is plans, the bid, of course, and the payment schedule, right? So having these three, if you decide to go with us, we'll sign and we'll be ready to break ground. After we sign the contract and you accept the bid, right, we'll need a down payment in order to secure the cost of the construction, right? But before that, we will need to request you the documentation of the property for us to be able to submit a construction license. You will need construction license, your passport, the title of the property, or fideicomiso in this case, and we will need to hire a city inspector. That is going to be a person who will be between us, the builders, and you, the client, right? And he pretty much follow-ups that all the process of the construction is doing according to the plans, and also the structural and the engineering is done according to the plans. And that's pretty much what the city inspector does. So a timeline for a construction license to be delivered could be from 1 to 3 months regarding the size of the projects and if you fulfill all the documentation needed.
Okay, so once you have your permits, you can start breaking ground. And we're going to talk in video number 3 in this series about the construction process, about the payment plan, things like that. So this one was really about going through the design to getting your plans. And as Carlos mentioned, if you buy those plans up front, working with an architect who the plans are separate from the construction, you can take that to other people to bid. And especially because they've set out this bid form essentially of all the different pieces, how many outlets are going in and whatnot. Other contractors can bid on that, and then you can decide which contractor you want to go with. But that is when video number 3 pops up, and that will be once again with Carlos. If you hire Carlos's crew to build your home, then that will be what you're going to watch in video number 3. When that one's available, it'll pop up on the screen up here. Video number 1 should be up there already, and other videos are going to be down here if we don't yet have everything available. So we'll see you in the next video. Hasta luego.